Good evening and welcome to Fl33tway's Roundup with your host, me, of course. And I'm glad to be having everybody on here tonight. This is going to be a good show as I have made it known on a lot of my socials. This is going to be kind of a doubleheader weekend. So we got 2 episodes planned, one for tonight, which is going to be focusing on more of the movies, video games, and animation side of things, while tomorrow is going to be more of a football-focused episode because so much has happened over this week that I could not fit it into one episode. Wouldn't be fair to you, and it wouldn't be fair to me. So we got to make this fair for everybody so they can enjoy themselves. But like I said, both episodes going to be good. I know you're going to enjoy yourselves as always, and we're going to go and kick things off with our first set of news, and that's going to be that, well, we have a cast announcement for the next Superman movie coming out in 2027. We were just talking about last week the first trailer for that Lantern series, and well, they've already gone and confirmed that Aaron Pierre is going to be returning as Jon Stewart in Man of Tomorrow. This is they're not calling it Superman 2, but it is a sequel to that 2025 James Gunn Superman movie that came out, which I think everybody's pretty familiar with. It was a solid Superman movie and a solid superhero film. And it's going to be exciting to see how this turns out. I find it a little interesting, but a little strange, too, that they would just go and drop a name like this so early, considering that his show for his character hasn't even came out yet. But they must have a lot of confidence in the show, and they must have a lot of confidence in Aaron Pierre to pull off a solid performance where people will walk out of that show enjoying his character and wanting to see more of him. I mean, you have the name Jon Stewart behind him already, which is a well-known DC character, so that's going to pull people in, and that definitely, I think, kind of confirms what a lot of theories have been about the Lantern show, is that it's going to be more of a prequel. And we're going to basically be seeing how Jon Stewart gets more of a hold of that ring. He starts to become more familiar with his powers, so then he can become the Green Lantern that we are familiar with. So it'll be interesting. I'm excited. I enjoyed the first Superman movie, so I can't wait to see what they got in store. It sounds like they got a lot of characters filling up this movie, but glad to be seeing that Aaron Pierre will be coming back as Jon Stewart. Now we're going to go on to our next news. This one is going to be a big one for a lot of my animation fans in the chat and people watching, and that is that K-pop Demon Hunters 2 has been announced by Netflix. This movie, this movie was very big when it came out. I mean, when it came onto Netflix, everybody was talking about it. You probably heard 1 or 2 of the songs walking in a mall, playing somewhere. I've seen people even cosplaying as the 3 main characters. I've even seen little girls are cosplaying. It got big, and it got big fast. And now they've announced the sequel. I've seen it. I thought it was a pretty solid movie. It wasn't too. I think it got a little overhyped, in my opinion, by people, but it was still a really solid movie. Great animation as always from Sony. They be really hitting it off recently with their films, whether it's the Mitchells vs. the Machines. GOAT that we talked about recently, that was another one. And all those Spider-Verse movies, they are seriously hitting on all fronts when it comes to animation, and this was a movie that deserved its sequel. And I know one thing that's going to be interesting about this movie, though, to me is Netflix going to release this in theaters? Because that was one of the biggest not well-kept secrets, that Netflix was not happy that this movie did so well on their streaming platform, because they did originally consider releasing it in theaters, but they just decided to keep it on streaming. And, well, the movie blew up, and I think Netflix made it very known. They were not happy that they hesitated. They didn't want to release this film. And now they saw the revenue that came in from all the popularity. And so that's going to be an interesting question and discussion of, will Netflix go and make this move? Will they release it in theaters? Will they try to maybe cash in on the popularity that has been from this franchise? And so, yeah, for any of those fans out there, I know they're happy about this. This is a long-awaited announcement, and if they do release it in theaters, I would not be surprised if this becomes a high-grossing animated movie for sure. Well, we're going to go and move on to our next topic here. we're staying in the movies realm. And another big set of news as far as movies are concerned, it was recently announced who will be, well, let's not say directing it. It's more so that he's being eyed to direct this movie, and that is Michael Sonarski, who directed A Quiet Place Day One. Some people may remember the original Quiet Place movies, how popular those got. If you don't remember, it was the premise where you basically had to stay quiet the entire time. There was those alien creatures that would be going after people, and if you made any kind of noise, they would go for you, so you had to be quiet. And that was basically the whole point. And he directed the more recent one that came out, A Quiet Place Day One. Some people might have seen it. I remember the movie didn't really get too much buzz going on around it at the time. And I don't know why, because the franchise has been good, but it could also be a case of that a lot of people just kind of were starting to get burnt out. It came out in 2024. This was supposed to be kind of focusing on the origins of when the creatures first landed on Earth and everything, and how everything just went from 0 to 100 so fast. But then it kind of turned into a bigger, more philosophical type of movie where they wanted to focus on this woman who was dealing with cancer. Our main character here as you can see on the front, she was dealing with cancer. And so it turned to more of a metaphor about her living life and not being afraid. And so a lot of people didn't really walk out of the movie enjoying it. They kind of just wanted more of a straightforward, hey, how did everything go down on the first day of when everything went from 0 to 100? And so it didn't do too well, but when I saw the movie, I thought it was pretty solid. I still think the first one is the best out of all of them, but this one was still a solid entry. And so that director, he's going to be possibly directing the new Alien Romulus sequel. I remember seeing when the first Alien Romulus came out, that movie, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a solid entry in the Alien franchise. I do enjoy Alien. I've enjoyed them since the first one. I think my favorite has to definitely be Aliens, the second one. That was the best one. I liked kind of going into that more action direction compared to the more horror aspect that they were focusing on. But Romulus was a really solid sequel. I know it had a mixed bag of reviews, but overall I think it was a good step in the right direction for the franchise. And it does suck that the original director won't be coming back, but he is said to be at least producing, so he'll be keeping an eye on things, and I think that's the best way to go about it if he can't direct. And, well, for them to begin the guy who did A Quiet Place Day One, while Day One wasn't the best out of the Quiet Place movies, it still had a lot of the aspects that you wanted for the previous Quiet Place films, where it had that suspense, it had that staying quiet, having to sneak around and stuff. A lot of aspects that you probably have seen in previous Alien movies. So I think this is the case, that he is going to be directing this next Alien and Romulus film, I think they picked a really good guy, and this should be a solid sequel and entry in the Alien franchise. So I can't wait to see how this turns out, and I can't wait to see if he adds anything new with his own directing flair. So we'll have to just go and see if this turns out to be true. I hope it's true. Hopefully they don't go with anybody else and that this is the person they decide to stay with. We'll have to just wait and see. But now we're going to go on to our next topic here. And this one I'm excited to talk about because I'm excited for this movie. This is definitely a top 10 anticipated movie of the year for me. And that is the live-action Street Fighter movie. I think everybody should be familiar with Street Fighter. Even if you aren't a person that plays video games, there is no way that you did not hear the name Street Fighter get thrown around there with people playing at arcades and stuff. Street Fighter has been around for years. It's as big of a name as Mortal Kombat when it comes to the fighting games. And now they're finally taking another swing at doing a live-action movie. The trailer already has been released, and I thought it looked good. The cast is crazy, which we'll be getting to that soon in a second, of some of the people playing the characters. But they had released a new teaser for the movie, and we're going to watch that here in a second. So give me one sec while I take my camera down, and we're going to check out this little teaser for a quick second and then continue talking about some of the other pictures that have been released.
We wanted to officially invite you. You accept a fight?
Yeah.
All of us, we're going to do our best to honor the characters and to bring them to life in the best way they've ever been born. Ever.
制作している、監督はじめみんなそのストリートファイター大好きで、自分たちと同じようなファンでいてくれてるっていう子がすごく安心材料の一個で。
We're all big Street Fighter fans.
I played it on my PS4, my PS5.
I was obsessed with Street Fighter. I just hit the button so fast and then see what happens.
すごく難しいことをすごくスマートに達成してくれてると思ってます。自分が知ってるストリートファイターはこれだ。
Nakayama knows Street Fighter better than anyone.
Here's the guy who brought us a modern Street Fighter, and he wants to play. Good luck. But it's definitely no fair. He knows things.
It's okay.
Yeah, one more.
I don't know about you, but seeing that even just for a small teaser, I'm getting excited. They getting the costumes down, they making these actors look like the characters, and the action in the movie looks like it's gonna be really fun. I think I'm more excited about this movie than I am for Mortal Kombat 2 that's also coming out this year, which I think is kind of hilarious that we got not one but two fighting game movies releasing in the same year and not that far away release window. So this is gonna be pretty interesting, but some people might have noticed when seeing that little teaser trailer, some of the actors, I think the biggest one that a lot of people who are watching this probably picked up on is, first, of course, Cody Rhodes. That was this is one of the shots here that was shown during that teaser where he's playing with one of the people who works on the games, and they're playing one of the recent Street Fighters. He's playing the character Guile in there, as you can see by his haircut, as he is dressed up in character. And Cody Rhodes, he's a very famous wrestler right now in WWE. And so I think they picked a good guy, because I think if you get wrestlers, I mean, they are going to know how to, I mean, wrestling is fun and all, but I think everybody knows wrestling is also a form of acting in some cases. I know that probably just made a whole bunch of wrestling fans get mad, but at the same time, it's true. So wrestlers, they know how to act. They got to act. That's kind of a part of their job. I mean, the injuries are real, but they still got to act. So you get wrestlers to play in a movie like this, if you give them the right material, they're going to be able to act on that. And I like the fact of just seeing them playing the game and hearing how a lot of them sounded really excited and giving their history on playing the older games when they were younger. So, I mean, he looks good. I mean, if I even just pull up an image here of Guile from Street Fighter, you're going to see he looks just like the character I mean, come on. What more can you do? He's got the haircut. He's got the tank top t-shirt and the army pants. That is literally Guile from Street Fighter being played by Cody Rhodes. So they are being definitely faithful with the outfits, 100%. There is no doubt about that. But I know a lot of people were like, well, there was another actor in that teaser. And yeah, when it was first announced, the casting for this, and when everybody saw that 50 Cent was going to be in this movie, people were like, 50 Cent? I mean, even looking at this here, he looks a little off, but I think that's kind of the age getting to him here. He looks a little older than he typically does, but either way, he still looks like the character he's playing, which is Balrog in the games. Balrog is a boxer that he'll be playing. Let's see here. No, not that Balrog. Street Fighter. Here we go. Yeah, so as you can even see, he literally has the same haircut. He's got the same hairline, everything. He basically is Balrog, 100%. You can see it. And like I said, once again, they are being very faithful to the appearances of the characters from the games. And I'm interested to see how 50 Cent looks. I mean, 50 Cent, he's acted in some stuff, but it's going to be interesting to see how he decides to bring this character to life in the movie. But like I said, the movie looks really fun. Just seeing in that, once again, seeing in that teaser video that they showed off, they're building the sets. They clearly got a passion for this movie. And honestly, I mean, I think personally, you can only go up, because the only movie that ever came out for Street Fighter was the 1994 film, which I know is a cult classic. People love talking about this movie nowadays. And with what's his name? I think Van Claude Dame, or yeah, very well known action movie star at the time. They had him in the original Street Fighter movie. Of course, if we're looking in a hindsight, it wasn't a good movie. It just wasn't good. They changed way too much. It definitely wasn't faithful to the games, but people look back on it pretty fondly now that it was a fun time. It was cheesy. It was quirky. So you can't really go all too wrong. But I think with this next one, you can't do any more wrong than what the 94 movie did. I think all you can do is go up. And as you can see in this image, there's more of the characters and actors dressed up. Yeah, they also have Jason Momoa. I think everybody's familiar with Jason. He's gonna be playing as Blanca from that movie. And when I heard he was gonna be playing Blanca, I'm like, how are they gonna have him have Aquaman look like Blanca? And well, they definitely got it right. They definitely got it right. They gave him the orange hair, the green skin, everything. So it's gonna be. This movie looks fun. That's all I can say. It looks like this is gonna be a fun time. I'm excited. I love Street Fighter. Very classic game there. You can't go wrong with a Street Fighter movie at this point. I think as long as you have the passion and the love for making this movie and at least staying faithful to the general gist, you can't go wrong. So I'm excited, and you gotta tell me in the comments or in the chat, how do you feel about this next Street Fighter film that's going to be coming out this year in October? And well, speaking of video games, we're going to talk about a video game that's getting pretty popular on the internet right now. This is another, well, funny enough, another Pokemon ripoff game. The last one that we had was called Pow World, as you can even see in the article here by Dexerto. But this one is calling itself, I mean, at this point, they're not being clever. They're not being slick, nothing. They are calling this Pikmon. I saw a little bit of the trailer. Nothing impressed me. It is a clear, obvious ripoff. They're making fun of Pokemon. They're making fun of, if some people, especially for my non-gaming people, there was a big thing with the Pow World game where the original Pokemon company, they were suing them. They took them to court. They weren't able to win out, and Pow World still is able to be played by people. This game, I think everybody could tell it was clearly trying to be another joke game. Essentially like, hey, we saw you guys try to take out that other game. Well, what if we just became even more blatantly obvious? We're trying to knock you off and see if you could get us. And everybody kind of was like, yeah, because at this point, we're at a point in time with a lot of video game fans. They're not too happy with Nintendo and Pokemon because of how strict they are when it comes to the modding and fan scene. And for my non-gamers, modding is when you take a game, an original game, and you add into its code newer features that weren't maybe seen in the original game. So that's what modding is. And typically with Nintendo and Pokemon, they're very strict on that. If they see that you're messing around with their product with a modded version, typically you might either have it where you just can't ever play the game again, and they might remove it, they might block it. One of the biggest cases was with Nintendo and the Switch 2, where back then when the Switch 1 came out, people were able to mod their Switches and be able to play different games, a lot of classic games without having to go paying money and everything. Well, and being able to also mod existing games. Well, Nintendo's kind of gotten a lot more strict with that with the Switch 2, where it was a very well-known thing that when the Switch 2 released last year, that people were noticing that if you tried to mod your Switch 2, Nintendo could remotely go in and brick your device. And essentially bricking your device means that you can't even use it. So all that money you just spent on Switch 2, which ain't cheap, that just went down the drain because you modded it, and now you can't even utilize it. So they're very strict on that. So people were looking at this as a harmless, okay, they making fun of Pokemon, and they're trying to stick it to the man and stuff. But as you probably read through this article while I was talking, this game, well, as you can see in the trailer and on their front picture, people noticed that one of the Pokemon ripoff creatures looked extremely likely. Well, I mean, I don't even think you could say it's a coincidence. It looks word for word, beat for beat. For anybody who's seen that one clip of Soulja Boy where he's like, he stole my whole flow. This is literally bar for bar, beat for beat, the exact same design that wasn't made from them. And this user here, they don't work for the people that just made this, that are making this Pikmin game. And so that means that they actively stole a design from someone on the internet with no credit, nothing, and are posing it as their own. And then they tried to add few extra details and stuff to seem like, oh, this is an original creature that we made, so see, we're good with our designs. But no, that is literally the same thing. And as we're going to even see in this article from Dixerto, apparently it is multiple artists accusing Pikmin of stealing. Of course, there's our original example here. Here's our original example from the fan artist. But even then, now this is another fan design. Now, I'm going to move my camera because you can't see the design I'm talking about here. But on the left, on my left, you can see this. Now, this does exist in the actual Pokemon games. So not only is this game copying a design that is from the original Pokemon, but they're also stealing a design that this is a fan-made design, because the original design doesn't have the 4 legs. It only has 2 legs. So they are stealing a design from another fan artist. And you're seeing that is not one, but 2 designs that have been blatantly stolen from this game company. And I don't know how this is going to turn out. I would not be surprised if Pokemon jumps into this and probably sues them like they tried to do with Power World. But the funny thing is that compared to Power World, where there were gamers that were supporting it and were on the side of Power World and just sticking it to the man and hoping to win their case, this is now a game where people are not defending this game. They are saying that, hey, we hope that Pokemon sues them and takes this game down, because not only is it stealing from the Pokemon brand, but it's stealing from people online, and that's just a big no-no. I mean, for a fan artist of any kind, whether it's me or others, we don't have that luxury to be able to sue our designs, because since it's based off of an existing property, we can't claim to own it. All we can do is just claim that, hey, we drew this is an original design that we came up with, but we don't really have those means to be able to protect those designs that we make. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Pikmin here. I don't know what's going to become of this. As far as I'm concerned, I think it needs to be shut down. I hope they take it down. This just ends up becoming some big ploy of, oh, we were just joking, we thought that this would be funny. I doubt it, though, because I'm pretty sure they had this trailer show up at some game event. I can't remember which one, but it did show up there with its trailer. So I'm hoping something happens, whether it gets canceled or Pokemon goes in and sues them, whichever comes first. But we'll just have to wait and see. You have to share your opinions, definitely, whether you believe that this was, if they were in the right to be taking these designs since it's made by just fan artists, or if you feel that that's a pretty scummy move to be stealing designs from people online that be putting their effort into creating their original designs and then just throwing on slight changes so then they could get past it. It's, like I said, it's just it's a bad look. It's a bad look for a game company that you're taking designs from others. You just don't do that. Pay people. Pay people. Pay the artists. Pay the designers. Let them make the designs for you. Don't go stealing designs from others. It's just bad look. I mean, the more I look at it, the more frustrated I get, because you can clearly see it is the same design. All they did was give it an overbite, change the eye color, added a flower around its eye, and changed some colors around, and it's literally the same design. I mean, you even can see it, like, they didn't even try. They did the bare minimum of trying. So we'll have to see what happens. But Speaking of video games, which since we're talking about Pokemon and Pokemon had an anime adaptation, we're going to go and move on to our next topic, which is an anime that had a live action adaptation and just had its second season come out this week, and that is One Piece. Some people probably, I know that I probably have some viewers that don't know anything about anime. That's perfectly fine. I'll do my best to kind of just briefly explain what One Piece is. It's a very popular anime. Well, it started off as a manga, which is technically in the shortened term for people, it is essentially the Japanese version of a comic book. And so it started off as a manga made by Oda, and then got an anime adaptation, which is the animated version, of course. And then recently, 2 years. When did? Actually, hold on. Give me 1 sec here. When did 2023? Wow. Yeah, season 1 of live action One Piece came out all the way back in August 2023, and it was a hit. People loved it. People were praising it for being a solid adaptation of the anime and manga. Especially, I think they had the benefit of having Oda work closely, Eshiro Oda, having him work closely with the production crew and the directors so that he could give them insight on what he wants them to take out so that they can condense everything into shorter episodes. And this series got praised for being a solid adaptation of the series while also cutting down a lot of the fluff and extended arcs that happen in the anime. I watched it. I enjoyed it. It was a really fun time. And I was excited when they announced season 2. And that's what just came out a couple days ago. As you can see, on March 10th, season 2 released on Netflix. And it is coming out swinging. Everybody is talking praises about season 2 already, giving it the same props that they've been given to season 1. They're giving it to season 2, with people even saying it's better. And what we're going to just kind of talk about here is a little bit of just kind of a brief review for me, where I just want to talk about my opinions on this live action, how I felt about it. Did I think it does the series justice? Does it maybe even sometimes surpass the series? That's what you'll find out in this quick review that I'm going to give. And first off, I'm just going to give the score review. I would easily say that season 2 of One Piece live action on Netflix, I would give it a solid 9 out of 10. This is special. And I would very much say confidently, boldly, that this broke the curse. There was a curse going on that whenever any type of live action adaptation of an anime was made, whether it was a movie or a show, it ended up terrible. You would have people talk about that it's not accurate to the source material. You'd have people talk about that the acting is terrible, everything just being wrong. As you can see, one of the biggest examples was Dragon Ball Evolution. This was panned. It was horrible. It was so bad it even caused the creator of Dragon Ball to have to come out of retirement and bring the anime back so then he can kind of fix the bad reputation this movie had put on the franchise. Another one that came out even kind of at similar time as the live action One Piece was Yu Yu Hakusho. That was another live action adaptation that came out in 2023. That one, same year, but did not do a good job. People didn't like it. Same issues that sadly plague a lot of the other well-known live action adaptations of anime, where people just didn't like the pacing, people didn't like the acting. People also just felt like it wasn't doing the series justice. But here we are with live action One Piece being the one that's breaking the curse, with people loving the actors, loving their portrayals of the characters, enjoying what is being put on screen, whether it's the fight sequences, whether it's the stories that they're adapting. And for something that's only 8 episodes, they do a really good job at condensing the arcs they take, because we're talking about arcs that in the manga could be about 150 to 100 chapters, and and the anime could be at least maybe 20 episodes focusing on one arc, and yet they found a way to take not one, not two, but 3 different arcs and condensed them into 8 episodes. And when I was watching it, I didn't feel like they were rushing through things. I felt like they were progressively going from arc to arc. I felt like they did a solid job at taking out the fluff, taking out the pieces from the anime and manga that didn't need to be there, wasn't important to the story, and cutting it down so that it is able to feel seamless. It's able to feel connected, and I think they did a really good job with that. As you can see, this is our main 5. Even here, we have a separate thing. I'm going to move my camera over to the side here so that you guys can see, as this is kind of a comparison of showing the actors next to the characters that they're portraying. So of course you see how, I mean, they did a really good job, I feel like, with the casting. These actors look like their characters. I mean, and they act like them too, and that also goes a lot in the way of the actors doing a good job, but also goes into the way of the casting directors, etc., that they're doing a good job too, to direct these people to be able to give the best performances they can. And like I said, it's a really good show. I know there's not a lot of people that like anime or even stuff like this. So I know there's going to be people that are like, "Oh, well, this doesn't look that interesting." But I personally feel like it has a solid story and solid characters and action that you'll watch it. And I think if you're not in by the 3rd episode or even the 5th episode, if you're not in by then hey, that's perfectly fine. It's just not for you. But I feel like by the 5th episode, it's going to pull you in. It's going to pull you into what's going on with these people and their what they have going on, their connections, their dreams, what they want to do, searching for the One Piece, which in the grand scheme of things, the One Piece is basically this treasure that was hidden by the character here, Gold Roger, or Goldie Roger as we know him as. He hid a massive treasure and basically tells all the pirates, go and find my treasure. So a giant race goes on where every big name pirate around wants to find the One Piece and become king of the pirates. And that's of course where we step into our guy Luffy here at the top, who is our main protagonist. He wants to go and find the One Piece. He wants to become king of the pirates. But here's the thing. He doesn't have a crew, but as you see through season 1, he starts to build each crew member that join him, and they learn to trust him, and he learns to trust them, and they build a connection where they become more than just a crew. Because as you watch the series from season 1 to 2 and see other pirate crews, you see that their crew is on a different level because they don't get along at times, they argue, they bicker, but makes them for some reason stronger. And it's just, they're fun characters to watch. And with season 2, I think they just hit on every mark here. And I'm just gonna say this: Netflix, Oda, director behind it, you guys seriously, man, they had 2 arcs in this season where they take 2 arcs that are 2 tear jerkers and they just set up everybody to be crying in the season 2, because I found myself not once but twice while watching season 2 where my eyes started getting watery because of how well they adapt 2 of the tear jerking hearts of One Piece, and they do it so well. And we actually have a clip here where, as you can see from the poster, they say peak cinema, and I'm gonna play this clip. I'm not gonna play the whole clip. I just want to play just this one clip from it, because in the story, and I don't want to spoil too much for anybody that does decide to watch this. In the story, they build this connection for you to learn to love this character here. His name is Dr. Hiroluck, who on the island that the Straw Hats travel to, he's known as a crazy whack doctor that doesn't know how to heal people and stuff. And basically you get to build this connection, learning more about him as a character, learn why he's trying to do the things he's doing. And you really build this connection, but you build a connection between him and another character in this show called Chopper, who is someone that he helps out at the beginning. They become like a father-son duo. And I mean, I can't even speak more. I have to let the clip speak for itself, because the actor they pick, and funny enough, the coincidence that the character's name in the anime and manga is Dr. Hiroluck, and the actor they casted his name is Heralick. So they literally picked a guy whose name sounds awfully familiar to the character that he's portraying in the live action. And like I said, I'm going to go and play this clip here for you guys to watch it. Like I said, it's not going to be the full clip, but it's going to be just a few seconds just to see that the acting, in my opinion, goes pretty hard in this. It goes hard.
When does a man die? Is it when a bullet pierces his heart? Or he's stricken by an incurable disease? No. Is it when he eats soup made from a poisonous mushroom? No. No, 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 no! A man dies when he is forgotten. I may disappear, but my dream will live on. And the ailing people of Drum will be healed.
Is it true for a country as well? Can Drum Kingdom be saved?
As long as there is someone to carry it on.
What are you blabbering about? Shoot him!
Soon, a monster will appear. Please don't hurt him. He is my son. I've had a marvelous life.
Shoot him!
And like I said, I mean, for the fans watching this just it was so good to see this get brought in to. It was just so fun to be seeing this get brought into live action and see the story of Chopper and Hero Luck get brought to a big screen like this on Netflix and be done so much justice. And like I said, if you give it the chance and watch it, I'm telling you, it's going to pull at your heartstrings because they really get you invested into these characters and their story, their history with each other, and where they go from there. So, like I said, I seriously give season 2 a 9 out of 10. Season 1, I gave it an 8 out of 10 in my personal feelings because I felt like it was doing a really good job. There were some times I felt like maybe it could have used like some tuning. I feel like season 2, they found a way to find that tuning I was looking for and deliver a very solid season 2. And I really can't wait to see what happens next with this series. I don't know how long they're going to be able to keep this up because when you talk about doing an adaptation for an anime like One Piece, that's a lot of budget that's got to go into a series like this. And I don't know how far they're going to go. There's been some rumors supposedly that the creator behind the series in general is saying they don't intend on going too far with the series. So it sounds like that there is a very high chance they do end up ending the series the live action series prematurely. And then hopefully, I guess they're taking into account that maybe people who watch the live action series will be interested to watch the anime and then just pick up from there. Because I would say that the live action does the anime justice and is pretty faithful to the source material. So I give it a 9 out of 10. For anybody that is willing to give it the chance, I recommend watching it. It's a fun watch. Watch season 1 on Netflix. Get yourself ready for season 2. I don't know. We don't have any announcements or concrete dates of when season 3 will come out, but I'm excited, and I definitely know the fans are excited. So that's my review on One Piece season 2, guys. And that's really going to just wrap up this episode for tonight. I enjoyed these topics that we talked about. A lot of the movie news from the Street Fighter movie. Like I said, I'm excited about that movie coming out. I'm excited about Man of Tomorrow. I enjoyed Superman, and like with my review, I enjoyed season 2 of One Piece. It was a enjoyable watch. I'm telling you, hopefully that this is bringing in a new era of adaptations being done right. I know some people are going to say, well, they had the creator at least work closely to tell them what they're doing right and wrong. But I think that while that is true, if you have the right people who do care enough, you're going to get a product that's going to represent that. And I think that this series does a really good job of showing that they care about doing right by the fans while also giving a solid story that people will feel that connection and be able to be drip fed. They get drip feeded that information just enough to be invested in these characters, invested in what they got going on, and be able to continue watching. And so, yeah, I mean, like I said, that's just gonna wrap up this episode for tonight, guys. Once again, I just want to thank y'all for tuning in tonight. You know, I always enjoy being able to bring this information and news to you. And like I said, this is like a two-parter of sorts, doubleheader. So tune in tomorrow. We're at 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern, and 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to be doing a football-only episode. Like I said, we're going to be talking about a lot of free agency news that's been going on, a lot of acquisitions made by teams. I'm also going to say my top 3 winners of the free agency this week and my top 3 losers of free agency this week. And I'm excited about that episode too. So once again, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a good night now. Peace.